Scoot a high priority. Feeling good, feeling great, feeling good. How are you? Welcome into Timeline T. I'm your host, the Sam B, aka Sam Duzman Jr. On a hump day, no huge story, but a lot of little stories that have a lot of intrigue, in my opinion. So we are here to chop it up. We are here to talk about it. All man is going down. Basement. Make sure everything is nice and lovely and set up. Okay. Wi-Fi looks to be strong today. Okay. We've been trying to test out some different speeds here. But it looks to be okay right now. Okay, so we'll be good there. All right. People think the stream stuff is like just easy. Just turn on your phone or turn on the camera and just go. I'm like, not so fast. There's a little bit of technical stuff going on. But anyway, we are here. As you see, Scoot Henderson has NBA front offices in a frenzy. Everybody wants Scoot. I was gonna put that in the little topic bar. Where we at? Put that in a little topic bar, but can't fit those words. So just keeping it simple. Who wants Scoot? And now that the NBA finals are done, Nuggets parade is tomorrow. So we got a lot of downtime. A lot of content needs to be filled. Oh, NBA sources are talking. Everyone's got sources. And they're doing a lot of talking. Bradley Beal. I haven't heard so much talk about Bradley Beal in like 3 years. But yet, apparently it's Bradley Beal season. It was Dame Lillard's season last week. Now we're talking Bradley Beal this week. Mixed in with a little bit of Scoot. We even got some Victor Wembanyama news to talk about. So it's a lot of little stuff. And then we got some NFL stuff on the back end. Saquon Barkley and the Giants. There is a small update there. Stephon Diggs and the Buffalo Bills. The saga continues. DeAndre Hopkins. Is he seriously going to consider the Patriots? He has to think. He must. Even though the Cardinals were probably a bad situation. To go from Kyler Murray, and even though he may be addicted to COD and maybe doesn't take the game seriously, you're going to walk away from that to go link up with some Mac Jones? Come on, D-Hop. I got faith in you, D-Hop. All right, I see Thomas is in the house. Thomas, what's good? Thomas tapping in. Appreciate that as always. Oh, man. Scoot Henderson. There's a lot of D Rose comparisons. There's a lot of Russell Westbrook comparisons. There's a lot of Damian Lillard comparisons. There's a lot of, well, no, not a lot of. I'm the only one. I'm putting Rondo in that conversation with his ability to facilitate. It's a lot of stuff to get into. Let's go ahead and tap right in. Okay, so your man Scoot, who wants him? Sound like everybody. We've heard, Portland has that third pick overall, and with Victor Wembanyama obviously going to the Spurs at number 1, Brandon Miller more than likely going number 2 to the Charlotte Hornets. We have the Portland Trail Blazers at the 3 spot in the power position. They hold a lot of cards. Scoot is thought to be a really good prospect. Some people jumping out the window saying can't miss. I don't know if anyone is truly a can't miss, but Scoot Henderson certainly has the skill set, the acumen, the build, the prototype to be a top-tier guard in this league. So Portland is holding the cards. Do we sell or do we fold? And if we fold, that means we're staying, and that means we're taking Scoot. Why can't Portland try to keep Scoot and Dame? Why can't this be a passing of the torch? Why does it have to be a thing? Well, Dame's going to stay here only if we trade the 3rd pick to get him some help. Dame, I hate to keep saying this. I've done a lot of YouTube shorts on it. I'm going to do a lot of stuff with some clips coming up when it comes to Dame. Dame, you got to let that go, bro. You got to let that go. The ring is not happening. The ring is not happening for Damian Lillard. And I'm not saying that out of spite. I'm not saying that out of hate. I'm saying it from the standpoint of, bruh, stay in Portland, collect that max bag, even though, yes, if you get traded, it goes with you, but that means the other team receiving you has to now give up so much more because that contract is so bloated. And I believe there's a trade kicker in that contract. So the team receiving Damian Lillard is going to have to really shell out not just bread, but high-level assets. If you're Dame, what team is good enough to give up high-level assets for you and still compete for a championship? Who has that much surplus of top-tier talent that they can bring you in, absorb that contract and a potential trade kicker, and give up at least 2 high-quality starters or 1 really good young player and a shit ton of picks? Who got that? I don't know if Dame understands it. He's trying to leverage player empowerment. He's trying to force the Portland Trail Blazers to, be proactive, to surround him with help. They have done that. It just hasn't worked out. The Blazers have made it to a conference finals. It just hasn't worked out. You played in the era of Steph, and you were never good enough, despite us thinking you might be a better overall player in certain aspects. You and your teams were never good enough to get past Steph and the Warriors. Sometimes them's the breaks. Reggie Miller was never good enough to get past the Bulls. Not with Jordan. Sometimes you just have that dude in your way and there's nothing you can do about it. Patrick Ewing couldn't get past Michael Jordan. Couldn't get the chip. Came close. Twice. Couldn't get it done. Sometimes there's dudes that's in your way that's preventing you from getting a Larry O.B. And I think for Damian Lillard, he is snake bit to be in the same conference, damn near the same division as Steph Curry. When Steph has revolutionized the game of basketball by bombs away from 3, something that Dame is adept at doing his damn self, but not to the level of Steph. Dame's never had a Clay. He had a CJ, but CJ was never Clay. He never had a habitual nuthead, Draymond Green. He's had a Nurkic. The pieces have never been right around him to be able to get this off. So collect the max bag, be a god in the Pacific Northwest forever, and collect the bread, because why leave? You really want to go to Miami that bad? You could travel to Miami whenever you want. It can't just be, well, I just want to be in South Beach. You could fly to South Beach whenever you want. You got PJs on deck. You got the Gulf Streams. What you want, G4, G5? You got the bread. You're getting 300 M's. You got that. That's light. I don't understand this fascination with players always. Look, no. Hold on. I know why players want to play in Miami. Let's be clear, okay? I know why players want to play in Miami. But the thing is, you can go to Miami whenever you want. You just want to wake up and be in Florida all the time? Are you sure you want to do that, Dame Lillard, in the year 2023, going into 2024? Anywho, so I'll hit the chat. Thomas saying, rumor has it Pels want to trade Zion to the Rockets. Yep, I have that locked in the tabs. Well, we're going to start with the Wizards, though, because the Wizards are trying to move into the top 3 of the draft. Now, again, top 3. That doesn't automatically mean Scoot. That could mean 2 for Brandon Miller, because we know the Spurs aren't coming up off Big Vic. But in terms of the Wizards would like to move into the top 3 of the draft, you're talking about potential Brandon Miller territory at 2. Now, if you're MJ and a hierarchy of the Charlotte Hornets, would you be interested in Bradley Beal? Is LaMelo Ball and Bradley Beal a backcourt you would be interested in? Bradley Beal, he of the full no trade clause, by the way, would have to agree to this deal. If you're Bradley Beal, and I have that story as well, where he is now open to being traded if the Wizards are going in full rebuild. Let me let you in on something, Bradley Beal. The Wizards are always doing a rebuild. Even with you there, bruh. From John Wall to Russell Westbrook to Kristaps Porzingis to Spencer Dinwiddie, they are always rebuilding, whether you're there or not. That's just the Wizards being the Wizards. Okay, so that squad is trying to retool. So do you want to stay there or not? You've already been there while they retool, so you already know what that looks like. Another guy, Bradley Beal, who is really good. How good? I'm not really about to jump out the window and say, but he's not a championship player. Not as your, damn sure not as your number one. Damn sure not as your number two. He's a number 3 on the championship team. Would you take Jamal Murray or Bradley Beal? To me, that's automatic. I'm taking Jamal Murray. Like, Bradley Beal at one point in time was held in high regard, but as I think I pointed out either earlier this week or late last week when we talked about Bradley Beal, like, those numbers have slowly started to creep down and the bread just continues to go up. So while the numbers are coming down, but the bread is going up, who's going to accept that? Y'all let me know. Thomas in the chat, it's just hard to get to the top of the mountain. Yeah, it is. And that's why you have to kind of, sometimes you have to accept certain things in life. And it's not necessarily through no fault of your own. It's just those are the cards you're dealt. I'm sure if I had Dame's skills and has accomplished what Dame has accomplished, I would still feel like, yo, I can win a championship. I'm not saying he should stop thinking that. I'm saying if I'm the Portland Brain Trust, you have to look past that and look at the reality of what you've built. And can you fix it quick, fast, in a hurry to get it where it needs to be? More than likely, you probably are not. Even if you take Scoot, even if they keep Dame and take Scoot at the 3rd pick, Dame's not going to be happy with that. Even if Scoot comes in and Scoot is as advertised, Dame's not going to be happy with that, because now you're telling me, one, where the hell is he going to play? Dame's not moving off the ball. Good luck trying to convince him of doing that, Chauncey Billups. Dame's not moving off the ball. Anthony Simons deserves to be the 2 guard. Shannon Sharp needs run. So where does Scoot fit in? So you can take Scoot and then maybe trade him. But again, what type of player do you want back that can legitimately help the Portland Trail Blazers be better than what they've been in the past? I don't think that player exists, quite honestly. I don't think that player exists where you can realistically flip the number 3 pick, Scoot Henderson, for a high-level player. We talked about the other day, Zion, because I said the Pelicans were in the mix, right? There was a report that Pelicans were in the mix, and there's more reporting about that today. I said, I hope that's for Young Reaper or Brandon Ingram, because if that's for Zion, I'm not rolling with that. And now we have reports today. Let's see, where is that window at? Where's that tab? Let's see, Victor Wembanyama. We got all the stuff here. Too many tabs, my bad. Here we go. Yeah. Zion Williamson, as Thomas mentioned earlier, Zion Williamson has come up as a potential trade target for Houston. So it's like, I mean, Zion being traded would not shock me, but you clearly now, we had reports last week that it was going to be Portland is circling on Zion, or the Pels are interested in potentially trying to flip Zion for the 3rd pick to Portland. But now we're getting reports of Houston, who has what, the 4th or the 5th pick? I don't know if anyone at that. Let's go ahead and get the tankathon rolling. It's been a minute, but it's draft season, so you know we lean heavily on tankathon. Let's go ahead and get the tankathon loaded up and see who they have. All right, so yes, Houston has the 4th pick. Amen Thompson, he's really good. But I feel like if you're doing this, right, if you're the Pels, if you're trading for the 4th pick and you trade Zion to Houston for the 4th pick, and good Lord, can you imagine Ime Udoka, James Harden, and Zion Williamson all in the same city? Oh, good Lord. All the IG models are moving to H-Town. As if they aren't there already, there's going to be an influx of new, fresh ones moving to H-Town. Ime, the Beard, and Zion? Oh, good Lord. Oh, the amount of Cash Apps and Zells being sent discreetly, or in Zion's case, maybe not so discreetly, it would be insane. It'll be insane. So if we're trying to figure out who should do what with whomst, again, if you're Portland, you're trying to trade out of this 3 spot, right? For anyone who wants Scoot. The problem is you have Damian Lillard, and we know what Damian Lillard can be. But as we've discussed here a lot, what is he going into next year? This roster is not that great, right? This roster is not that great. This roster is not that great, right? So if you're looking at who are the pieces you want to keep, in my opinion, it's Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, and I guess Nurkic could still give you something as a serviceable big. Y'all know how I feel about Cam Reddish, keeping him. And that's about it. Maybe Tybal, maybe as a piece. Nazir Little's been okay. Like, I don't understand, bro. I don't understand, bro. But if you're looking at, you know, having a core of Lillard, Shaedon Sharpe, Anthony Simons, then you can't take Scoot, because Scoot, he doesn't fit in here. He's too little. He's the same size as Dame, and he plays Dame's position. So if you're Portland, do you throw an audible and not go Scoot at 3? If you can't find what you want to help Dame in terms of an established elite wing player, which was the reporting, that Dame wants an elite wing player to play with. That's why people were throwing out there Paul George. I was asking about Brandon Ingram. There's not that many elite wing players that you could foresee them being actually moved in this scenario. So if you're Portland, do you throw an audible and not take Scoot at 3? Do you go Amen at 4? And if you're not up to speed on Amen, I'll be quite honest. I've only just now started to watch him. Clearly, he is the Thompson brothers. I'm not sure which one I like better yet, but I think there's a lot there in terms of there's some versatility there that could translate to a wing at this level. You see the wingspan. He has a 7-foot wingspan and he's 6'6", 6'7". This could be the wing that Dame is asking for. Now, he's got a lot of growing up to do. He's got a lot of maturing to do. But Dame ain't going nowhere with that big-ass contract. So why not hold it down and see what this youngin' got? Maybe you don't go Scoot at 3. If Amen is the better fit as a 2, they have him here as a 2/1. I don't know how much of a 1 I see. He certainly can handle the rock, but I don't know if I'm putting him at point. I'll watch some more film and watch for that specifically. It's mostly just been highlights to keep it a buck with you. But from what I've been told about him, I think the shooting guard spot is more of where he's at. And if you're 6'6", 6'7", with a 7-foot wingspan, that means to me you could play the 3. But again, where does that fit here on Portland? When you have Shaedon Sharpe, Dame, and Anthony, Those three, like Shaden Sharp could play the three as well. And I showed y'all last week and breaking down his game log. He was cooking at the end of the year. Shaden Sharp can go. He's a bucket. So why does Dame want an elite wing when he potentially has a couple of wings here? And Shaden Sharp and Anthony Simons, who can go? So which is it? Do you really want to leave? Or are you just posturing, trying to leverage player empowerment? Like, which is it? I'm trying to understand. I'll hit the chat. Thomas, a lot of great players never won a championship. Nah, yeah. I mean, Dame doesn't have to win a championship. James Harden doesn't have to win a championship for us to realize how great they are, how immortal. Dame's a Hall of Famer. The Beard is a Hall of Famer. In my eyes, they never have to win a championship. Certain guys you just know. Like there's like, okay. Is Paul George a Hall of Famer? Right now. Don't project going forward. His career is over right now. Is Paul George a Hall of Famer? And I know that wasn't a topic I thought we were, I mean, I'm just freestyling that, but just in terms of we're looking at guys who are really good, have been good for a while. Like this resume is really solid. 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 4-time All-Defensive, 2012-2013 Most Improved. Is Paul George a future Hall of Famer? I'm going to wait for y'all to answer in the chat before I give y'all my answer. I don't want to dirty the pool here. But Damian Lillard seems to be under the impression that with Paul George, he has a chance. A chance at what? I don't know. But he thinks with Paul George, he has a chance. And we'll give you his career numbers. 21, 6, and 4. 21, 6, and 4. Is that a Hall of Famer? Nearly 800 games. Now, we know he's missed a lot of time over the last couple of years, but 21 points, 6 boards, 4 assists, 8-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, 4-time All-Defensive, led the league in steals, most improved player. Like, I'm trying to navigate because, like, this is where this era kind of gets confusing because the numbers are going to be inflated. We need to now establish different rules when it comes to establishing who's a Hall of Famer or not. Because if we go through it piece by piece, right? Paul George has a skill set that should make him a Hall of Fame player. Now, has Paul George fully tapped into that? At times, I can say yes. And at times, I can say no. When he was at his peak in Indiana, he put that team on his back, but he also had a squad around him. Now, in hindsight, we probably don't think that squad was that much of a squad, but back then, that squad was a squad. We're talking about Roy Hibbert, who was gone out the league not that long after playing with Paul George. David West was the vet. George Hill was a youngin'. Lance Stevenson, a.k.a. Baby Bron. Like, that roster, in hindsight, probably wasn't that great, but during that run, that squad was giving Bron and them fits. But is Paul George a Hall of Famer? Hit the chat. Thomas saying Jamal all day. Yeah, Jamal Murray is better than Bradley Beal. And I think it's Bradley Beal is almost in that Damian Lillard. Bradley Beal is entering that Damian Lillard territory, or he might already be there, where it's like, you're the man here, but you are never going to win here. So do you just want to get paid and just cash out? I mean, you put in a no trade clause. That means you don't want to leave Washington. Or if Washington decides to be done with you, they got to come to you and they have to negotiate. That's why you do the no trade. You either decide when it's time to leave. Either way, you decide when it's time to leave. Even if the team wants to do it, they can't do it because they got to go to you to do it. Or you really just want to stay here and never want to be put in a position where you have to be traded. He's in that same type of thing with Dame. Neither one of them are going to win championships in their respective cities on their respective rosters. So do you just stay and keep cashing out, or are you willing to bounce? But just because you bounce doesn't guarantee you're going to win a chip. Scrub Zero in the house. What's good, Scrub Zero? Zion DeBeard and Ime Udoka. They finna redefine A-Shine. Yo, dogs, it's up there, bro. Like, it's up. You put Zion with the beard and Ime, H-Town is right, but just imagine the amount of wire transfers going through there. The ACH, nasty. It's going to be nasty. Thomas, I think their best option would be try and trade Dame or get a solid wing. I just don't know who that solid wing is. And let's clear this up. Dame doesn't want a solid wing. Dame said he wants an elite wing. So that's where I draw the line. Because if the best wing that could be available is Paul George or Brandon Ingram, I like Brandon Ingram more than Paul George right now today. But that's not going to get Dame closer to a chip. That's not getting Damian Lillard closer to a championship. So if you're in the mix trying to figure out what to do with Scoot, if you're going to trade the third pick to help Dame, but that player doesn't really make him any better, then why trade the third pick? Just don't take Scoot. Take one of the Thompson twins. If it's really going down like that, then take one of the Thompson twins if you don't want to be forced looking at Dame's replacement sitting on the bench. Just do it that way instead. That's what I would do anyway. Scrub Zero, if you take a second to think about it, then no. And I had to think about Paul George, so I would say no. But the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame lets anyone in, so he will get in eventually. Yeah, everyone gets in. Everyone gets in. If I think eight-time All-Star, 6 All-NBA teams, I think that's more than enough to get in. When you really think about it. Again, I don't think Paul George is a Hall of Famer just because I don't think I've seen anything from Paul George that makes me think he's an immortal. He's really good. Skill set is crazy. But 21 points, 6 boards, and 4 dimes, that's Hall of Fame? Like peak Paul George was around here, 2015, 2016, 2017. This was peak Paul George. Even though he went crazy with buckets when he went to OKC that last year when it was him and Rusty going crazy, they were both stat padding. But in regards to the best Paul George, it has to be this window of 2014 to 2017. Well, 2015 to 2017, because we know he had the leg thing. And the fact that he rebounded off of that is amazing in itself. But I don't see anything special. Like Hall of Fame to me means special. I'm seeing someone that, I want to show, if I have a son, I want to show my son like, yo, you need to hoop like this dude. This dude right here, his bag was crazy. I don't know if we're doing that with Paul George. We're looking at him like, yo, he was good, but he was in the age of LeBron. And he couldn't measure up to LeBron. Just like we were talking about earlier, we have Dame, and Dame is a guy that is a Hall of Famer, but he could never measure up to Steph. He played in the era of Steph Curry. Like if we look at Damian Lillard's numbers, 25, 4, and 7. Those are Hall of Fame numbers for a point guard. And then we throw in his shooting. with his shooting prowess, which he's a career 37% three-point shooter, okay? And he takes a lot of them, 8 threes a game. So in the era of three-point shooting, he is 37%. Damian Lillard is a surefire Hall of Famer. He's got Hall of Fame moments. That matters. That's basically what got Reggie Miller in the Hall of Fame. It wasn't necessarily that Reggie Miller was a Hall of Famer, but he had Hall of Fame moments, and that propelled his popularity and his notoriety to get him into the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Damian Lillard is a better basketball player, and he's got Hall of Fame moments. But the problem is, it's just him in Portland. And he's had some playoff runs. Like I said, he got to the conference finals. And he played well. But it's just not going to happen in Portland. It's just not. But if you're Portland, you're going to be stuck with trying to navigate, how do we go about this? If you're going to keep Dame, but you can't find anything better on the trade market besides Brandon Ingram, Paul George, or maybe Zion, if those are the three best options I got, I'm keeping the pick. I'm telling Dame, yo, we going to figure it out. Trust the process. Pull out the Sam Hinkie line and say, yo, trust the process. We're going to figure this out. Because ultimately, you can't force me to trade the rights to Scoot Henderson for no Zion. You can't force me to trade the rights to Scoot Henderson for no Pandemic P. And you damn sure, can't force me to trade the rights to Scoot Henderson for Brandon Ingram, when none of those guys make me as good as you think you're going to be with them. Someone's got to sit down with Dame and say, yo, the options for the third pick in terms of trade value, they aren't there. We cannot take Scoot. But we can't just trade this pick just because you want a veteran in here. We have Shaedon Sharpe. We have Anthony Simons. These are young up and coming hoopers. If we put one of the Thompson twins, instead of taking Scoot, we take one of the Thompson twins. That can be, I think, Amen, can develop into the wing that he's looking for. He's got the size and the wingspan. He could be that dynamic wing that he's looking for. Scoot, to me, people have said he could play off the ball. I think Scoot at his best is a point guard. I'm not moving Scoot off the ball. So even if you want to get cute and take Scoot and still have Dame be the point, that means you're bringing Scoot off the bench. And how long is that going to happen? You're going to be like the Warriors, where you got Weissman just marinating on the bench. You got Kuminga marinating on the bench. Moody, Baldwin Jr., Rollins just marinating on the bench, not getting no PT. So if I'm Portland, I do not trade that third pick, because unless you're going to give me an offer I can't refuse, the options that we've been told about, from Brandon Ingram to Zion Williamson to Paul George, those are not enough for me to give up the right to draft Scoot Henderson. Y'all let me know. Thomas in the chat, Paul George had to stay healthy. Yeah, that's a big thing. That's the story of his whole career. I think Paul George could have to be that guy if he didn't break his leg. Oh, could have been that guy if he didn't break his leg. He's a guy who belongs in the Hall of Good. Yeah, I think the leg thing certainly hindered it, but he kind of bounced back. Like, maybe the ascension would have been a little higher. Maybe. I don't know how much better he was going to be. Certainly that cost the Pacers. So yeah, potentially. But yes, I think even if he doesn't have the leg thing, if he didn't break his leg, I still think he's in the Hall of Very Good. So and that's kind of my thing. Like, if you're going to trade this third pick, I'm giving up Scoot for who? Zion? Come on, man. Can't do it. I would not do it. These guys clearly are supposed to know more than me. I think from what I know internally, what goes on in the industry, I am highly questioning that. But for what it is, these guys are supposed to know more than us, right? So we'll see. We'll see. Speaking of Kuminga, the Golden State Warriors are pursuing a trade of Jonathan Kuminga for a high draft pick. So again, let's go back to this board. How high you think the Warriors can get dangling Kuminga out there? Do you think Portland takes the bait? Is Jonathan Kuminga? That's not enough for Dame, right? Dame don't want no Jonathan Kuminga. Who would want, if you're the Rockets, would you take Jonathan Kuminga for the 4th pick? I don't know if I'm doing that. I don't know, as much as high as I am on Jonathan Kuminga, I don't know if I'm any of these teams in the top 10 if I am trading that for no Jonathan Kuminga. I don't know if I'm doing that. But this is a real thing. Allegedly, they traded Weissman. They got 5 second-round picks. Asinine. I hope they could do better than that in trading Jonathan Kuminga. Who can go? He's that hybrid. He's got a lot of Siakam in him. Good Siakam, not the erratic, inefficient Siakam. He's got a lot of good Siakam in him, pause. But Kuminga's a dude that I think can hoop at a high level if he's given to PT. For him, it's all about getting run. He's not getting any run. What's the minutes he's getting? I mean, he's getting 17 minutes and 20 minutes a night, like spot duty starting. Like, he's not getting no real run. And, if you want to project what he could be per 36 minutes, this is a guy who's giving you 20 and 7 and shooting the ball effectively from the field. Now, again, this is per 36 minutes, but 17 and 6 with 53% shooting. This is what we're talking about. Like, now the 3-point stuff, he got better last year. I don't know if he'll ever translate to 37% for a whole year. That might be asking a lot. But if you're looking for a spot for Kuminga, as Scrub Zero's asking here in the chat, there's a lot of teams that could use a Kuminga. The problem is trying to figure out who would want to trade for Kuminga. The Warriors can want to trade him, and they can think we should be able to get a high first-round pick for him. That doesn't mean you're going to get it. If I'm the Pistons, I think about it. I think, the Pistons could be some low-key. I like him in Indiana. Put him with Halliburton, and assuming they hang on to Miles Turner, and who's my guy? I keep butchering his last name. I'm gonna have to learn that man's name because he can go. He's a hooper. Mathburn. Is there somebody else? No, it might be Mathburn. Yeah, Mathburn. So if you're telling me I could build a core, assuming they bring back Miles Turner, and that's a big if, and this is not a sexy lineup, but if I got Halliburton, Turner, I mean, the fact that they still got Buddy Hield, I think that I would try to include Buddy Hield in that deal for Kuminga. I don't know if the Warriors want Buddy Hield, but so Halliburton, Turner, Mathburn, that's a good 3. Then you slide in Kuminga, who could be a 3/4, because you got your point in Halliburton. Turner's your 5. Mathburn's your 2. Kuminga could come in and be either your 3 or your 4, more so a 3 right now. Maybe he could develop the muscle to be a 4, but I think ultimately he's a 3 in this league. You put him at the 3, that's a nice little lineup. Now, that lineup's not going to win anything, and that's the problem. But in terms of if Kuminga wants some run, He could get some run in Indiana. And I think he would actually be a really good fit in Indiana. Yeah, I think that's the best fit as of right now, but let's see who else we could think of. I wouldn't be mad at Atlanta. Atlanta's trying to figure out what to do with Trae Young or DeJounte Murray. And John Collins is infinitely on the trading block. I'm not mad at a Jonathan Kuminga going to Atlanta. Now, if they're really smart about this, if you're the Warriors, what do you want from Atlanta? You could throw in some picks. If they have any left from that DeJounte Murray deal, I don't know if they have any left, but Collins, he could provide some depth for the habitual nut hitter. The problem is I really like Jalen Johnson for Atlanta. Jalen Johnson could go. They're also very high on A.J. Griffin. I'm way more higher on Jalen Johnson right now than A.J. Griffin. I think Jalen Johnson should start for the next year. So if you can pair a Kuminga and Jalen Johnson as like your 3-4, I like that. I like that. Now, both of them are going to get beat up inside. But in terms of dynamic playmaking ability and your interchangeable positionless basketball nonsense that everyone likes to copy from the Warriors, I think you could do something there with Kuminga. Kuminga and Jalen Johnson would cause havoc. Cause havoc. So there are some teams. Now, if you're talking about a contender, I don't think the Warriors are going to trade Kuminga to a contender. If you're Sacramento, I saw something about this on the timeline. I forgot who was it, so I apologize for not crediting them. But someone said if they are, and I think was it Nate Jones? I think it was Nate Jones. He was saying, if I'm the Kings, I sell high on Sabonis. And I love that type of thinking. Get Sabonis up out of there. He's not the answer, right? Like, he's peaked already. It's his 6th year in the league. He's peaked. Domantas Sabonis will never be better than what he is right now. If you can sell high on that, like if I'm the Kings low key, all right, I'll pose the question first. And this is strictly just spitballing. Domantas Sabonis, you would have to give up some picks for Zion. You give me De'Aaron Fox and Zion. Get him out of NOLA because clearly he needs to get out of NOLA. I would not be mad at that. Because, again, we're talking about ceiling. Domantas Sabonis is at his ceiling. His head is touching the ceiling. Zion is a better player when he's healthy than Domantas Sabonis is right now at his ceiling. Now, you give me De'Aaron Fox, Keegan Murray, and some Zion. Now we talking. Or if you could go get Young Reaper, Brandon Ingram, for some Domantas Sabonis, I'm here for that. De'Aaron Fox, Brandon Ingram, Keegan Murray. Now Keegan might have to move off the 3 for Brandon Ingram. That's why the Zion move fits better if you're going to entrust Keegan Murray to be the 3 of your future, which he showed you. It looks like he has the potential to be that. But if you're talking about De'Aaron Fox, the core of that team is going to be Fox, Murray, and whoever, right? Assuming you move off Sabonis. Fox, Murray, and Zion, or Fox, Murray, and Brandon Ingram. Y'all let me know. But that's just a spitball in here. Like, this is all about trying to navigate what this draft is going to be. And next Thursday, we're going to get this figured out. And we're going to know what Portland's going to do. because we're pretty much set here. Although Houston, or who was it? Who had the, let's go through all these tabs. The Wizards trying to move to the top 3. That doesn't just mean scoot. That means they potentially are trying to get to 2 as well. Now, if we're doing the Charlotte thing, if you're Charlotte, what's the reason to trade out? Who would you trade out for? You got PJ Washington. Still got Scary Terry, DSJ. Like, there's a lot of vets here who, aren't really like, what's up with Book Knight? Did Book Knight even come back last year? Okay, he played in April. Okay, he gave you a couple of 20-point games. Like, I thought the Book Knight move, the taking Book Knight showed me that the Hornets had a clue. But then all the stuff with Book Knight happened, I was like, all right, well, maybe that's not the backcourt of the future. But if you're telling me Book Knight is right, if I got the chance to put LaMelo, Book Knight, and Brandon Miller on the floor, I'm doing that. There ain't too much you can do to get me off that. You can try to dangle that Bradley Beal shit, but if I got the chance to line up LaMelo coming off injury, we understand that. Book Knight, who's coming off some off the court issues, which bled onto the court, we understand that. And then put Brandon Miller, who also clearly has some off the court or has an off the court issue that he's dealing with. That's a lot. Off the court, that's a lot. But on the court, if they could get it right, there's your 1, 2, and 3 right there. Now, PJ Washington being a small 4 doesn't really matter as much. You still need some size, and they've drafted size. Mark Williams is supposed to be a player. I didn't see too much of him hooping last year, his rookie year, but Mark Williams is supposed to be a guy that can go. Kai Jones also. So they got a couple of twin bigs that potentially could be the answer at the 5. The 4 will then be the spot. And PJ Washington as an undersized 4, I don't know how much longer he can hang on to that spot. Because if you run him out there with Brandon Miller, they're both around the same size. Brandon Miller's about 6'8". Let me see what does Tankathon have him listed as. Yeah, 6'9". Okay. So I think Charlotte is there, and I don't know why they would ever trade out of number 2. I would not trade out. I'm taking Brandon Miller, and I'm hoping Book Knight is right and LaMelo is rehabbing, and I'm trying to run that out there. And I want to see that. Hit the chat. Scrub Zero, I would definitely go for Brandon Ingram, and Zion isn't a bad option either, but Sabonis certainly isn't the answer. Well, that's kind of the thing. Like, there are some people around the league that do think Sabonis is the answer. That's why I think it was a great tweet by Nate Jones. Like, that's the type of outside the box thinking that a front office needs to be doing. Sabonis is great. All-star, light the beam. What were they, the 2 seed or whatever? Like the 3 seed. That was great. But we knew they weren't no real 3 seed. And we now know going forward, they're not really going to be that going forward. They're not really going to be top tier going forward. So, okay, let's see if we could flip him now. Maybe get a lottery pick. Maybe get a young piece that might be a better fit. Maybe go get a underachieving or just a worn out his welcome Zion. And now put that with De'Aaron. The lob's going to be crazy if Zion could get on the court. As long as he can, as long as the Jones in North Carolina and in North Cali aren't crazy. But we know Zion likes to fly him in anyway. So, who knows? Zion likes to move him in wherever city he's in. I don't know. But just keep Zion out of Houston. That's all I'm saying. Please, for the love of everything that is holy, keep Zion out of Houston. We just can't have him and Ime and the beer. We just can't have it. We cannot have it. Can't have it. Absolutely not. Thomas in the chat, De'Aaron and Zion, I think could work well. I firmly think it could. Because that's been holding the Pels back. And it's been weird because Zion has still gotten his points, even without a point guard. You give him a point guard with De'Aaron Fox, his buckets are going to become a lot easier. Like even with no point guard, he's giving you 20, 26, 7, and 4. With no point guard. I mean, when he plays, he's a bowling ball. 43, 36, 20, 26. He's not a monster on the glass, but he gets boards. And because of his, playmaking and the fact that people can't handle him once he gets all that weight and that muscle moving, he draws doubles, and that allows him to pass out and get dimes as well. So Zion, as much as, I've been critical of him on the court, lately now off the court, but on the court I've been critical of him because I wasn't sure if that could translate at this level. An undersized 4, and let's see what does basketball, they got him at 6'6". Okay, well at least they have him at the real height. 6'6" power forward. I'm like, I don't know if that can really translate. But as long as he could keep the strength in that quick second jump, he can continue to put up numbers like this. But we know he has to be in shape. He has to stop, smashing porn Johns and stay off Pornhub. We get it. But if you put him with De'Aaron Fox and a Keegan Murray in the serene locale of North California, I think you might get the Zion that y'all thought y'all were going to get all them years ago. This draft is going to be really, really interesting. Really, really interesting. Let's move on to free agency stuff. We've been teasing it with these tabs. Bradley Beal and the Wizards will work together to find a trade partner if the Wizards end up rebuilding their roster. We already talked about that. We know what type of time that is. In the right deal, he'll allow the no trade. It's fine. He'll waive the no trade. And then not that long after that, the Sixers are not expected to be interested in Bradley Beal. The team believes Tyrese Maxey has all-star potential. Now, I will tell you what this really means. What this really means is that Philly and Washington have had conversations. And whatever Washington asked for from Philly, they were not too pleased with the offer. So now they're weaponizing the media to try to build up and negotiate in public. You don't say we're not interested in trading Bradley Beal and then talk about Tyrese Maxey's all-star potential, because that means we weren't offered enough to make the deal work, or we were insulted with the counter off of our initial proposal. This is negotiating in the media, just so y'all know. Here is some free agency stuff that I think is interesting. Now, a lot of these betting sites have been wrong, but I think it's interesting just because look at some of these names, dog. So these are the betting favorites to land notable players, whether via free agency or trade. LeBron to the Mavericks, Dame to the Heat, the Beard to the Rockets, Kyrie to the Lakers. So again, that doesn't make sense because if Bron is in Dallas, why would the Lakers ever go to Kyrie? All right, whatever. Russie to the Knicks tape, Trae Young to the Lakers. Again, Kyrie and Trae Young to the... All right. The point fraud to the Spurs. There's been a lot of steam picking up about the point fraud in Big Vic. The habitual nut hitter to Utah. Why would the ever do that? What picks would he give up to go bring in the habitual nut hitter? I have no idea. Oh, wait. I don't think I have stereo on. I don't think y'all heard that. God damn it. Let me make sure. My bad. Yeah, so I don't know why the would ever do that in trying to get the habitual nut hitter, because that just doesn't make sense with all the picks that they've been hoarding on purpose for a big fish to leverage those picks for a big fish. That big fish certainly cannot be the habitual nut hitter at his big old age. Then you have Fred VanVleet to the Suns. I guess somebody got to go there. If the Beard is going back to Houston, Kyrie is going to LA, somebody got to be there. Oh, Scrub, you heard it the first time? I bet. I didn't have to change no settings then. All right, cool. I just wanted to make sure. Oh, yes, when I want to play like sound from the internet, I got to switch it up. Okay. All right. My bad. Good looks, though. Chris Middleton to the Thunder. Again, why would Sam Presti do this? Why would Sam Presti? So, again, it's like, I think they're just putting like names on the board and just throwing teams out there and just seeing what sticks, what makes people bet. I would put a lot of money on Chris Middleton not going to the Thunder. Like, well, what's the other way on this bet? I would put a lot of money that Chris Middleton will not be a Oklahoma City Thunder next year. Nikola Vucevic to the Celtics. Again, they got Time Lord and Big Al Horford. Why would this be a thing? Brook Lopez to the Rockets. That's feasible, at least, right? Big Al back to the Hawks? I don't see that. D'Lo to the Suns? Again, you're already predicting Fred VanVleet. Dylan Brooks to the Heat? You already said Dame gonna be there. And this is all the same sports book. And then DeAndre Ayton to the Mavericks. So it's gonna be Bron and DeAndre Ayton in Dallas. I know the homie Mavs man would be lit with that. He would be absolutely lit with that. So that's why to me it's like, all right, y'all see the list here. Which one of these, not do you think is going to happen, but which one of these do you think would be the best fit? So again, we got Bron to the Mavs, Dame to the Heat, the Beard back to Houston, Kyrie to the Lakers, Russie to the Knicks, Trae Young to the Lakers, point forward to the Spurs, habitual nut hitter to the Jazz, Fred VanVleet to the Suns, Chris Middleton to OKC, Vooch to the Celtics, Brook Lopez to the Rockets, Big Al back to Atlanta, D'Lo to Phoenix, Dylan Brooks to the Miami Heat, and DeAndre Ayton to the Mavericks. Which one of these makes the most sense? Or which one of these would you put money on? I mean, it is being done from a sports book. Which one of these would you put money on? And like real money, not like a little $10 free bet, John. Like which one would you put 100 up? Which one of these are you willing to put $1 up? Y'all let me know. I'll keep moving. Big Vic is unlikely to play in Summer League. Your man's Big Vic. Now, this was some reporting from Spurs Talk. I'm assuming they're locked in, kind of, sort of, maybe. But then we have some other reporting. I was told from an NBA source that Wemby is expected to play in Sacramento, the Cali Summer League, and play in the first Summer League game, likely against Scoot. So, conflicting reports, but a report nonetheless. And then we go into the whole notion of the Spurs will make a hard push for either the point fraud or Fred VanVleet to pair with Webb Benyama. But this is also referenced in that same spot as this article. So, who do you believe? Does Big Vic need to play Summer League? I mean, if you're going to be in Vegas for Vegas Summer League, you would hope you're going to see Big Vic. But if they have him up in NoCal, up in the Sacramento Summer League, that will be a little disappointing because the main Summer League is still Vegas. The Cali one is all right, but the main one is Vegas. And it makes sense that they would put him versus Scoot in their first games because that might be the only games they play in Summer League. Like the Spurs are going to load manage him even in Summer League. They are going to load manage him even in summer league. Okay, y'all are giving me some answers for the chat here. Thank you to those who are pulling up. If you could drop that like, hit the like button. The algorithm likes that, therefore I like it. Let's go ahead and get back to the betting one since y'all are responding. All right, Scrub Zero will put money on Fred VanVleet to the Suns if he's putting the buck. Fred VanVleet to the Suns. I think that's a reasonable pick. Thomas is going with Kyrie to the Lake Show. Again, another reasonable pick. Okay, I like it. Anybody else could chime in as we got more people pulling up and pulling in. These are the betting favorites to land notable players. Which one of this list would you be willing to drop $100 on to place a bet? You see the list there. I'll let it marinate for a little bit. As people are pulling up, I know they're pulling up and wondering what's going on with Scoot, who wants Scoot, and how come NBA front offices are in a frenzy because of Scoot. Because everyone and their mama is trying to get to that third pick because Portland has made that third pick widely available. They are believing in Damian Lillard. They think they can build a winner, or they want to build a winner around Damian Lillard. So therefore, they're going to leverage falling into having the third pick to leverage for an elite wing player. The problem is, what wing player is actually available that a team would be willing to give up for the third overall pick, which we would all assume would be used on Scoot Henderson. We've talked about the Clippers and Pandemic P, a.k.a. Paul George. We've also talked about the New Orleans Pelicans with not just Zion Williamson, but maybe kind of sort of potentially Brandon Ingram. And after that, we've had a hard time trying to navigate who else is an elite wing that we would be willing to give up for the third overall pick in the draft, which would lead to Scoot Henderson. So that is where we're at with Scoot. It's like everybody wants the chance to get to Scoot because that third pick is a really good landing spot to get Scoot, who was thought to be the number 2 pick this whole entire time until Brandon Miller started going crazy last season at Alabama. So now that we got Scoot slotting to 3, teams want in on Scoot. Who has the picks and the high-value elite wing player to trade for the third pick in the rights to Scoot Henderson? Let me know in the chat. Scrub Zero, I think Brook Lopez to the Rockets is realistic, but I'm not ready to put 100 on that. Yeah, nah, it's a few. I would be, if you told me to parlay it, like a pie in the sky parlay, right? All right, well, I'll guess I'll give you my $100 bet since y'all gave me that. My $100 bet is the Beard going back to the Rockets. I will put $100 on that. Now, if I was trying to do a parlay, and let me get my telestrator up, and we'll do green here because it's about the bread. Give me, an outside the box parlay. Give me Dillon Brooks to the Heat. No, that's not the thing that I want. God damn it. Where is it? The arrow. Okay. Give me Dillon Brooks to the Heat. Point fraud to the Spurs. And Dame to the Heat. I'll take that 3-teamer. No, not Trae Young. My bad. Get that off of there. So give me Dame, the point fraud, and Dillon Brooks. I would do that. I would parlay that. But if I had to make just straight up one bet, I'm doing Beard to the Rockets. I think he's going back. He never wanted to leave. All right, let's see what else we got here. We talked about the Zion stuff. There we go. Here's something, and it involves the Knicks. What could an Emmanuel Quickley extension look like? A writer from The Athletic, he's a beat writer, Fred Katz, recently polled 15 people who work in NBA front offices. Again, work in NBA front offices, that doesn't mean GMs. That doesn't mean president of basketball operations, just people who work in NBA front offices. So again, consider the sources here. 11 believe he deserves a contract somewhere between $16 million and $20 million per year. So 11 out of 15. And this is a quote from the story. I can't see it being under 4 for $80 million. I also think it's going to be a 5-year deal. So that means he's going to get 100 M's. Emmanuel Quickley, 100 mil? You think people were kind of questioning the Jalen Brunson contract, even though most were proven wrong, but I still think there was some legitimacy to criticizing the bag that he was given. You give 100 mil to Quickley, bruh? You go ahead and give 100 mil to Emmanuel Quickley. I wish you all the luck with that one, bruh. 100 mil to Emmanuel Quickley, bruh. Anywho, I'm gonna let y'all decipher that one. All right, let's go ahead to the National Football League. I want to start with a really good breakdown of a team in the AFC West, and that's the Los Angeles Chargers. And again, I really rocks with Sharp Football, aka Warren Sharp here. He does a lot of great work. The content is really solid. The Chargers won 10 games last year. Here are the 10 QBs they beat. Davis Mills, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield, Nick Foles, Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, Tua Tagovailoa. Where's the good QB? Wrong button. Chargers got fat on some bad QBs. Davis Mills, Marcus Mariota, Jacoby, Baker, Nick Foles, Russell Wilson, Ryan Tannehill, Kyler Murray, Derek Carr, Tua Tagovailoa. Like, bruh. And then he goes on to start a thread, right? Chargers won 3 games all year by a TD or more. Here are the teams they beat by over 6 points. The 3-13-1 Texans with Davis Mills. The 4-12-1 Indianapolis Colts with backup QB Nick Foles. The 5-12 Rams with backup QB Baker Mayfield. Are the Chargers shaky in the light? Are the Chargers frauds? This is all trending towards fraudulence. People blame Herbert's ribs, wide receiver, or O-line injuries for their struggles. As much as I blame their OC the last 2 years, he was way more a negative factor in 2022 than I initially thought. So there's some more stuff here. Chargers defense ranked 27th in EPA per snap last year versus that schedule of QBs. Inexcusable. Staley traded for Khalil Mack and spent $140.8 million last 2 years in defensive free agents versus only $13.1 million on offense. Now they have the 3rd most expensive defense. Yikes. I mean, there's no love for Khalil Mack on this side. As a former Bear fan, when the Bears made that trade for Khalil Mack, it was one of the earliest videos I did on this channel, saying that the Bears. I was arguing that the Bears should have never traded for Khalil Mack. I had Bear fans calling me all types of N-words. I had Chicago people. I was blocking people off rip in the pandemic, just because Why? How can you say the Bears should not trade for Khalil Mack? Because the team ain't good. You have Mitchell Trubisky at quarterback. You're burning first-round picks, trading for Khalil Mack when you just wasted a first-round pick on Mitchell Trubisky. That's why I left fandom long ago, bro. Left fandom long ago, bro. Because you can't talk to fans. It's hard to talk to fans because fans are just so locked into their emotions, they can't look past the reality. Hit the chat, Scrub Zero. Nah, I'm willing to pay quickly 45 mil for 3 years. Ain't no way he's taking that. Ain't no way quickly taking 45. Ain't no way. In today's NBA, you don't take 45. You don't take 45. No way. You trying to cut that man pay in half. Ain't no way. Scrub Zero, I only see 3 to 4 teams with viable defenses and no QBs. Yeah, I mean, if you're breaking down the QBs that they beat, like this is a really putrid list. When you're talking about you got a Bosa and a Khalil Mack. The offense that they have, even though, you can blame offensive coordinators, you can blame injuries to Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. This is a very mid-tier, and I'm using mid generously. This is a very mid list of QBs that they got to go through. Scrub Zero, and yes, the Wall Chargers are a bunch of frauds. Yeah, I mean, they certainly prove it every year that they make the playoffs, and even when they don't, it's a team that it's a coulda, shoulda, woulda all-stars. They're coulda, shoulda, woulda all-stars. All the talent, a lot of names, but little to no results. Thomas saying they are frauds. Scrub Zero, and the Chargers still had the same head coach and made a more lateral move virtually and getting Kellen Moore. Yeah, the Kellen Moore thing, I thought it was a good move to get a new OC, but understanding, the fact of the matter of trying to go get Kellen Moore as an upgrade, and then they got the beef with Austin Eckler. Like, come on. Dre, Washington Wizards to move up into the top 3, and Bill is on the table. Bill can't be on the table. We talked about it earlier, but yeah, Bill can't be on the table because there's a no trade clause. So he has to put himself on the table. The thing is that I don't think teams want Bradley Beal like that. I don't think Portland does that deal. If Portland does the deal for Bradley Beal and they give up Scoot, I will roast them. I will air them out. So if that's the move, if you're going to give up the chance of drafting Scoot Henderson to go get Bradley Beal, and you're just going to have, because then that means you're trading Anthony Simons in that deal, and Anthony Simons and the 3rd pick for Bradley Beal. So now your core is going to be Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard. Again, like, I don't think people have watched Bradley Beal the last few years. Like, that ain't it, bruh. Dame is still him. How much longer he could still be him, that remains to be seen. And it remains to be seen if that's even championship level basketball. Dame's going to get his numbers, but is it championship level basketball? If Bradley Beal comes over, because let's go ahead to you want Bradley Beal to come over and do what? Be that secondary scorer, right? He's been that, right? He's been that secondary scorer when it was him and John Wall. When it was him and Russie, he was more so the lead dog there. That's when he was averaging 30 plus. Then Porzingis kind of came in there. Porzingis needed to get his shots the last couple of years. So it's been a little different. But I just don't see Bradley Beal and Damian Lillard being a force to be reckoned with in the West. I don't see it. If I'm tripping, I be that. But I don't see Bradley Beal. Like, let's really break this down, right? Let's assume Denver runs it back. Jamal Murray versus Dame. I got into some arguments with people because I said I think Dame is top 3 at his position. His position is point guard. People were trying to throw Dame in my face. I would rather have Jamal Murray right now than Damian Lillard. I said it. So, Jamal Murray versus Dame, I think that's a closer matchup than people are willing to give Jamal Murray credit for. Bradley Beal, we just saw Aaron Gordon give Jimmy Butler hell in the NBA Finals. Now, Bradley Beal is slightly smaller than Jimmy Butler, but I think Aaron Gordon can play that type of defense, or even KCP. KCP might be able to give Bradley Beal some problems. Like the Nuggets stack up. That team is not good enough. Portland would not be better with Bradley Beal than the Denver Nuggets. You want to go Memphis? I mean, Ja's going to miss. Yeah, nah, we'll leave them alone. Phoenix, let's say they go get Fred VanVleet, right? Fred VanVleet, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. Is Fred VanVleet enough? Is he worth 2 more wins? Because they took the Nuggets to 6. They were the only team to take the Nuggets to 6 games. And this is a lot of assumptions. You're assuming DeAndre Ayton's coming back. You're assuming they're going to go get Fred VanVleet and move on from the point fraud. It's a lot of assumptions here. But is that enough? VanVleet, D Book, and Kevin Durant? I don't think that's enough. Again, the Nuggets have the matchup capabilities. Dre's in the chat. Dame and Beal are good friends. I mean, Dame and Bam Adebayo are good friends. I don't think that amounts to too much to keep it a buck with you. I don't think that amounts to too much. I don't think Beal and anybody, unless you're talking about like a top 3-4 player in the league, is enough. Bradley Beal is a third option on the champion. He's a third option. Beal and LaMelo. Well, what's the goal here? What's the goal? Like, if you're Charlotte, the goal is to make the playoffs. So Beal and LaMelo, I guess. But I still wouldn't do that because I'd rather have Brandon Miller. It's going to take a lot more than Bradley Beal for me to break up a potential core of LaMelo Ball, Boog Knight, and Brandon Miller. If I'm Jordan, that's the message I'm sending down. You never know until you try it. Well, I mean, we could always try it in 2K, but in real life, you can't just say, well, you never know until you try it. In 2K, you could do that. In 2K, you could definitely get that off. But in terms of real life, you can't just do it like that. I think that there's a lot of pieces here that, if you really get into it, don't make a lot of trade partners. It doesn't make a lot of sense for these trade partners. Portland should not trade the 3rd pick. Charlotte should not trade the 2nd pick. But you know what? We're going to be right here on these streams when it happens to see if one of these 2 teams take the bait. I don't think they should, but we don't know. But yeah, the Chargers are frauds. What else we got? Jamar Chase was asked about Patrick Mahomes being the best QB in the league because apparently someone asked Joe Burrow, and Burrow said it was Mahomes. And then they went up to Jamar Chase and asked him if he thought Pat Mahomes was the best QB, and he said Pat who? Because, of course, he's riding with his man's Joe Burrow. Dre, Miami Heat was supposed to make the finals. You need to try it and take risk. Sure. Right? Like, okay. My question is this, though. If you're Portland, you and Damian Lillard are doing what? Real talk. You and Damian Lillard, you're going to give up Anthony Simons and maybe even Shaden Sharp. You're going to give up your youth for Bradley Beal, who's on a bloated contract, his numbers are going down, but his contract numbers are going up. And you gave Dame the superest of supermaxes. What are you expecting from that team? That team might be a play-in because you're giving up all your youth to go get Bradley Beal. You got rid of CJ McCollum because you realized Anthony Simons is better and cheaper. You got Shaedon Sharpe, and you could go ahead and figure out what you can do from the wing standpoint with Shaedon Sharpe down the line once he continues to develop. So you have a young core that's ready. But because Dame is making the supers and supermaxes, I got to give that up to go get Bradley Beal? I'm not doing that shit. Scrub Zero. Burrow said, what now? He said someone better than him. Sounds like some real Bengal type ish to me. Well, I think he just, all right, I'll play it, but I mean, it's not him saying it, but it is Jamar Chase reacting to the news that Burrow did say it. Now I actually do have to change the settings. There we go. So what happened here is Joe Burrow deferred to Patrick Mahomes. And they asked Jamar Chase his opinion on that.
Asked about the number one player in the NFL, with very little hesitation, you said
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
Everybody knows that, yeah. That's easy. MVP.
He said Pat.
Who said Pat?
Joe.
Pat who?
So yeah. So I mean, it's a thing where Burrow was asked who's the number one player in the league, or the number one QB in the league, and he responded Patrick Mahomes because he's deferring. And of course, because it's hard, even if Joe Burrow were to say he's the number one QB, like no one's gonna believe him. Like that's like you just might as well not, don't play yourself. Like don't play yourself. Like you can do that whole thing of, well, you have to believe that you're better than everybody. Like, yeah, you really don't. Like that's just some ego bullshit that people sell you on. Like you really don't have to do that. You really don't have to do that. Let's see. Thomas knows. Of course he's going to rock with Joe. Yeah, of course. That's his man. It's like he told the team to draft him. Of course I'm going to say you're better than anybody. Dre, having a scoring duo like Dame and Bill could be dangerous in the West. Don't forget Dame and CJ would have made the finals if not for Prime, Curry, and Clay. But see, Dre, that's the problem. Two dudes that were better than Dame and CJ were in the way. Are you confident right now in saying that if you put Dame and Bradley Beal together, that there's not a better duo in the West? Because the team that just won the chip the other night is a better duo than Dame and Bradley Beal. The duo of Devin Booker and Kevin Durant is better than Dame and Bradley Beal. Even if these two are healthy, Boardman and Pandemic P are a better duo than Dame and Bradley Beal. And I could even throw in Bron and AD, but I won't even do that for the sake of this argument here. That might be overkill. So there's three teams that already have a better duo than Dame and Bradley Beal. So while I agree with you that they could be dangerous and being contenders are two different things. Let's see what else we got here. I promise y'all a Saquon Barkley update. The Giants have now placed their pre-franchise tag offer back on the table for running back Saquon Barkley. It was taken off the table back in March when they tagged him but it is now back on. The offer was separately reported to be worth up to $14 million a year because if you remember, the franchise tag for running backs is only, I believe, just under 11. It's 10.9 million or somewhere in that range. It's 10 million, right? It's 10 million. And the problem is that Corey Davis, yes, that Corey Davis, wide receiver, he makes equivalent money to the top 3 to 5 running backs in the entire National Football League. And that's why Saquon ain't trying to hear that. He want to get this 14 mil bread because at least that puts him away from the likes of Corey Davis. Dre, Dame and Beal both been 30 points per game scores in the NBA. There aren't many duos who have done that. Cool. Problem is, Bradley Beal's not going to score 30 if he's hooping with Dame. Bradley Beal got that 30 ball off when it was just him. Like, he got that 30 ball off when it was literally just him. He was hooping crazy, taking all the shots. Made a lot of money in gambling on Bradley Beal those couple years. Like, I don't know. Like, you see the shots? He's taking 23 shots a night. That's not going to happen if he's playing with Dame. You saw what happened when he started playing with Russell Westbrook and then Kristaps Porzingis, right? Those shots went down. When he was a one-man gang, he was going crazy with the shots. Then as soon as that got regulated and he got help, the shots went down. He ain't getting no 30 ball with Dame. He might get it occasionally, but he's not going to average that. So again, Beal and that could be nice. That could be cool. But like outside of that, like I'm not really going too crazy with it. Okay, so Westbrook was there. So then who was there that next year? Was that with Westbrook that next year when the numbers dropped off? Oh, that was with Dinwiddie. Okay, that was with Dinwiddie. Okay, so the year after was Dinwiddie. So he had Russie for the 30 ball years, or at least that first one. Did he have him for that second one? That first one too? Let's see. No. So the first 30 ball was with nobody. They brought in Russie. He continued and got even more, 31. And then after that, he has not touched 30 because he's had, Porzingis? Porzingis there, Kuzma, Rui. And then this past year, didn't play a lot of games, but still. Same cast of characters. Kuzma, Porzingis. Yeah. So, I mean, look, if you think they should take that chance, then, hey, so be it. I'll agree to disagree. I would not touch... If I'm Portland, I'm not going to give up Anthony Simons, who could be a better Bradley Beal long term. I'm not giving that up. I'm not giving up that and Scoot. You want me to give up Scoot, who's going to be a star in this league, and Anthony Simons, who is already a proven, young proven player in this league, for a dude that's older, way more expensive, and doesn't necessarily make me that much better? I don't understand the rationale in that. Anthony Simons is a hooper right now. He can go get you 20 plus. Scoot Henderson could be a top tier guard in the next 2 to 3 years. And I'm going to give up both of them for Bradley Beal, who barely gets me into the play-in? I just don't. And I got to give up a pick probably. Like additional picks? Like I don't get it, man. Script Zero, I suppose maybe I'm just thinking too much of how I would respond to a question like that. Just don't like admit that someone else is better and I'm good at my job too. I mean, yeah, I think in sports it's a little different just because he's not trying to start any drama. So I'm going to just give y'all the quote that y'all want and just keep it pushing. Like, Joe Burrow clearly doesn't care. Plus, he's trying to get that bag. He's trying to get that bag, and he's trying to wait to see if Mahomes is going to get that bag first or not. Script Zero, Giants better stop messing around and pay Saquon that money. Jones is a mediocre dude that needs all the help he can get. Yeah, I think the Giants do realize that Daniel Jones is not him, even though they had to pay him this offseason. But again, like I've been telling y'all, that contract is barely half guaranteed. So they truly don't really believe that much in him because of the contract structure isn't guaranteed. Thomas said he just paid the man Daniel Jones. Paid the man Daniel Jones got his. That's facts. Dre, you think the Raptors should trade Siakam for the third pick to get Scoot? If Messiah Ujiri could pull that off, that's a heist. That's a heist. The answer is yes. Because if Van Vliet opted out, Van Vliet's not going back, so you need a point guard. So if you can get, if that's the elite wing, and I think we talked about this last week, right? I think we spoke about it last week. We were trying to figure out if Pascal's an elite wing. And the answer we came to was not really. Like, Siakam's best year was with Kawhi. And he came out gangbusters the next year, but then he fizzled out late. And to me, he's kind of been up and down since then. The three ball has not really materialized like it did prior. The three ball has not materialized. He's a stat stuffer. Crash boards. He can get you 20. He's a 20-piece scorer. He can crash the boards. He can play some defense. Is that an elite wing? Dame said he wants an elite wing. Is Pascal Siakam that elite wing? So we talked about Brandon Ingram. We've talked about Paul George. We threw out there the potential of Zion. Now we're throwing in Pascal Siakam. If I'm the Raptors, I'd do it. Now I got Scoot and Scotty Barnes for the next few years before I got to pay them some bread. I like that. But if I'm Portland, am I giving up? Again, I'm giving up Anthony Simons and the potential to draft Scoot for Pascal Siakam. I mean, again, how far are you expecting this Portland team to go? Like, Dame might think that's an upgrade. Because let's go back to Portland, right? Let's say they get that off. Let's play this out. All right. Portland gets rid of Anthony Simons. So now you need a two guard. You got Shaedon Sharpe. Shaedon Sharpe now becomes the two guard. Assuming you don't have to include him in the deal, which would be really egregious if they need to, but they should not. Anthony Simons gone. Shaedon Sharpe should now be the starting two guard. Now you got Siakam, and now you got Jeremy Grant, but isn't his contract up? What's his contract situation? Where is it? Come on. Good Lord. Yeah, he's a free agent. So you're not even guaranteed to bring him back. So if you're core three, like, see, that's kind of my problem. What's the difference? If I tell you your core, Dame, is you, Anthony Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, or you, Shaedon Sharpe, Pascal Siakam. Like, yes, Pascal Siakam is a name. He's more of a proven commodity than Shaedon Sharpe. However, if you're Chauncey Billups and you're trying to establish an identity for that team, piecing together some above average vets with Dame is not the answer to me. If you're really trying to win, that ain't it. I mean, Dame and anybody competent could be dangerous. Dame and anybody worth a damn could be dangerous, but that doesn't mean championship. Dame says he wants to win a ring. He wants to be competitive. Yes, Siakam has proven to be a number 2 on a championship team. Yes, but that was him being very young, and that was the last time Kawhi Leonard was him. Damian Lillard is not Kawhi Leonard. That's the type of player you have to win a championship with Pascal Siakam as your number 2. That's where that's where I'm at with it. Like, that's the type of player you got to be. You got to be that good. Boardman was that. Let's go ahead and look it up, man. Siakam's numbers never looked better than next to Kawhi, by the way. Let's see. He was the most efficient. Yeah, this here. I mean, he's never played this many games. That's the last time he played 60 games. So yeah, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't rock with it. Siakam, yes, he was the number 2, although Kyle Lowry would like to have a word, but yes, it was Siakam. In that finals, though, was it Siakam? Let's see. What did Siakam do in the finals? Okay, 20-8. Okay, yeah. But see, Lowry right there, 16-7. Don't sleep. But yeah. Let's see how much more we got. All right, we'll go a few more minutes. I do have to make a run. Let's see what else we got. Did we miss anything? Has anything hit the timeline? The Blazers aren't interested in trading Damian Lillard right now. Okay. Well, so much for all of that. So that means they're going to build around him, right? Or it's just more posturing? Is this more posturing? They really going to trade Scoot, bro. Anthony Simons and Scoot. The Portland Trail Blazers are really going to trade Anthony Simons and Scoot. There's nobody in the NBA who is actually available that is worth Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson. I don't know how they're going to get this off. I really don't know. I hope Dame really thinks he's back to being like the Dame from 3-4 years ago. Because that's the type of player he's going to have to be to carry a Siakam, to carry Brandon Ingram or Zion or whoever, like whoever this elite wing is. He's going to have to be the Dame from 4 years ago to justify this trade. Because you're not going to get a real wing that's actually available that's worth Scoot and Anthony Simons. You're not. LaMelo and Siakam? Nah, I'm telling you, dogs. LaMelo, Bug Night, assuming he's right. I could be wrong. Bug Night could still be going through whatever he's going through off the court. LaMelo off injury. So there's a lot of question marks. LaMelo off injury, Bug Night with off the court concerns, and Brandon Miller, who has an off the court issue as well. Like, I'd rather see those three than give up the number 2 pick for a guy like Siakam. Like, I'm just not that high on Siakam. Not anymore. Not when I can have Brandon Miller on a rookie deal for the next 5 years. I'd rather do that than be stuck with Siakam, who's already gotten the bag. And it's not even a guarantee that his ceiling is going to be better than Brandon Miller's. Yeah, and this news just dropped. Yeah, and that's why you tap into Timeline T, Dre. That's why you tap in. I'm on the timeline heavy. And this is why this stream does the numbers it does. We're building this community here. So tap in. I know you pop in from time to time, but do I think LaMelo is that guy? I'm a big LaMelo guy. I think the Warriors' worst move, the first move, and why they're now having to figure out if they need to run it back one more again with Clay and the habitual nut hitter Draymond Green is because they took James Wiseman instead of LaMelo Ball. They should have took LaMelo. Look at all the moves that they got forced to do because his front office that allegedly revolutionized basketball didn't take LaMelo Ball. They took James Wiseman. They had to offload James Wiseman for 5 second-round picks. Because they didn't have a shooting guard, they allowed Jordan Poole to go crazy and trick them into giving him $100 million. And now they rue the day they ever gave him that bag. And they're allegedly actively shopping him already. Now they have to extend Clay one more year because Jordan Poole is not the answer to replace Clay. Those three things don't happen. They're not faced with those three things if they just take LaMelo instead of Wiseman. That move has hurt this franchise. That one draft pick, that one miss, not to say Wiseman is a bad player. He was just never going to be a fit. The team won chips with Festus Ezeli, Andrew Bogut, and you're drafting James Wiseman? He doesn't fit what you do. Now they regret it. Now they're out here trying to figure out what to do with Poole. They're trying to figure out if they need to extend Clay. It's way too early, Dre. I can't do that. Who you think will be top 5 in the West next year in order? Yeah, I don't do that type of stuff here. I could tell you who won't be top 5. I could do that, but I'm not going to sit here and give you. We don't know what the draft is. The draft hasn't even had a draft, bro. Yeah, so yeah, I don't do that. I could tell you who won't be in the top 5. So if you want that, I could give that to you. Pause. But giving you in order and all that, yeah, nah. All right, let's see. Let me see what this DM might be. Some actual information here. Oh no, that's an offline conversation. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see if there's any NFL news breaking. Ravens are likely to sign Marcus Peters. If anyone cares about that, I do not. Okay, so all right, so yeah, y'all are actually interested in who won't be in the top 5. That's kind of easy though. All right, so who won't be in the top 5? All right, there's some easy ones here, but I'll pick some ones that are actually tough. Because I could just go to the bottom of I could say the Spurs are not going to be in the top 5, but that's not saying nothing, right? All right, Minnesota will not be in the top 5. Sacramento will not be in the top 5. The Pelicans will not be in the top 5. Dallas will not be in the top 5. And whoever Portland gets, Portland will not be in the top 5. But now, if you want to go I think the East is way harder. Who won't be in the top 5 next year in the East? I'll give you this one just off GP for hanging in this long here on the stream. We're getting close to 2 hours. All right. Knicks will not be top 5. I want to say Philly, but let me think about it. Beard leaves. Hand the keys over to Maxey. Fuck it, I'll say it. Philly's not top 5 next year. So Knicks, not top 5. Philly, not top 5. Brooklyn will definitely not be top 5. Atlanta's not top 5. Damn. That 5th one's going to be difficult because all the rest seem obvious. I mean, I'll just pick an easy one. Toronto will not be top 5. Sacramento time is now. De'Aaron Fox is playing great. Yeah, but what if they trade Sabonis? As been floated out there on the timeline. If they trade Sabonis, I said they should trade Sabonis for Zion and let him and De'Aaron go crazy throwing lobs, but who knows? Is Cade that guy in Detroit? Under Monty, he can be. But, okay, I'll ask you a question, Dre. What do you think his ceiling is? Because I think people are expecting numbers from Cade, and I don't know if he's ever going to put up those numbers. He's nice. Do not get that twisted. However, what numbers are you looking for from Cade Cunningham? Like, he's going to be a stat filler with his size and his skill set, but he can't shoot. He's trending to be a 6'6" Russell Westbrook. I don't know what that does for you, but maybe with Monty, he could help him shoot better. But that's the biggest problem. And it's not even just from 3. Like these 3-ball numbers are horrible. But he's not that much better from 2-point either. Let's look at his shot chart. Let's see. Let's go to his shot chart. Well, what? They're not going to give it to me? Pause. Shooting. No, but I want the shot chart, though. Shot finder. All right. Do I got to go to NBA.com? I think the shot chart will be at the bottom here. Okay. Oh, good Lord. God damn, he can't shoot. Oh, my God. God damn, Cade can't shoot, man. Fucking A. Look at all of this, bro. Are you kidding me? Look at all these misses, bro. Like, this is horrible. This is really horrible. Like, this is Russie. He's not a freak athlete like Russie, but in terms of a point guard who can fill the numbers up, but can't shoot worth a damn, like, that's horrible, bro. This is a lot, bruh. And this is all over. Like, he's taking way too many threes. Top of the key is Brick City. Not too much on the elbow, but even when he's on the elbow is Brick City. Elbow is Brick City. And for a guy that's a big point guard, he can't finish at the rim. Then what's the point of being 6'5", 6'6" if you can't finish at the rim? This is nasty. This is nasty. All-star, all NBA numbers. He's a first pick. Yeah, well, we've seen a lot of bust at first round picks, at number 1 overall picks. I mean, you've now seen the shot chart. You tell me if this is a guy, and this is just this is year 2. We ain't even going to the rookie year where he shot worse. Year 2 in the league. Westbrook was a freak athlete. I'm not necessarily comparing him in terms of athleticism, in terms of just being a point guard that can stat fill but can't shoot. That's what I say he's a bigger Westbrook, because he's a point guard who no one is scared of him shooting the rock. Scripture, all them X's, man. Like, yo, bro, this is really bad, bro. Thomas, enough bricks to build a house. That's facts, bro. You could build the PJs with this. You could build the projects with this, bro. You could build a skyrise with this, bro. Drake, Cade's going into year 3. In year 3, guys like Ja, Anthony Edwards, LaMelo, Zion, past draft picks made the All-Star game. Will Cade make it? Yes or no? You're asking a lot of questions, like demanding answers. I will appease you on this one, because it's a really easy answer. No, Cade Cunningham ain't making no damn All-Star. Why would he make an All-Star team? Why would he make an All-Star team? What about his game makes you think he's going to be an All-Star in the East next year at the guard position? Like, how many dudes are going to get hurt in front of him for him to make the All-Star team? So, I mean, that's just not feasible. And LaMelo made it in year 2, not in year 3. Yeah, just I don't see Cade Cunningham being that guy. Like, if he learns to shoot, it's a different conversation. But if he's going to keep shooting, sub 42%, then it's a non-starter. You can't shoot that low as a guard in this league and be considered a top-tier guard. Russell Westbrook is an anomaly. He is not the norm. And look what Russ had to do for us to look past him shooting so horrible from the floor. Before his career, he shoots 44% and 30% from 3, but he literally does everything else. And he's still a freak athlete and plays hella hard and stat pads like the best of them. Triple doubles and all that. Like, K's going to do shit like that for people to look past it. But if he doesn't do that, then yeah, nah. And he doesn't, in my opinion, Cade is not in this category with the guys you're mentioning here. Cade is not in the Ja Morant territory. He's not in the Ant-Man territory or LaMelo or Zion. Cade, I mean, I won't say it was a bad draft, but it wasn't the greatest draft when he came out. Like, we look at this draft in hindsight, like, this draft is not an impressive draft. There's some names here, for sure. I mean, the best picks of this draft might be everybody after him. Scotty Barnes, I think people would take Scotty Barnes right now over. If you do a redraft of this draft, you're either taking Mobley or Scotty Barnes number 1, Giddy's in that conversation as well. Kuminga's going higher. Jalen Johnson's going higher. Maybe Quentin Grimes goes higher. Yeah, there's no real second round picks that are flashing. Yeah, you do a redraft. Cade Cunningham's not even the number one overall pick in this draft. Mobley or Scotty Barnes is number one. Giddy's in that mix. Jalen Green is still probably in that mix. Probably not 2, though. He's probably in top 5. Kuminga moves up. Bug Knight moves up. I don't know if Moody moves up. Jalen Johnson definitely moves up. Like there's just, yeah, nah. Bones Highland, he moves up. Cam Thomas moves up. Like there's a lot of dudes that have proven to be in that mix to show that Cade Cunningham is not of this cloth. He is not of the John Morant, who wasn't even number one. Ant-Man, LaMelo, who wasn't even number one. Zion, like he's not of that cloth. I mean, if we do a redraft, is KD even top 5? Real talk. Mobley, Barnes, Giddey, Kuminga. I would take all 4 of those dudes right now over Cade Cunningham. Mavs Main pulling up. Salute to him. Support him. Subscribe to his channel. He's doing some good work over there. So salute to him. We was talking some Mavs earlier, Mavs Main. We was talking some Mavs earlier. And Trey Murphy, that's a good point. Trey Murphy also has flashed. So he's a guy that could be in that conversation. But if we do a redraft, Cade Cunningham is not going number 1. And the way that he's shooting the rock, you can't justify taking him number 1. I mean, when you can't beat Scotty Barnes out for Rookie of the Year in this type of draft class, when Giddey is in a better position to flash more than you, Jalen Green's going to cook when the beard pulls back up. Like, it's just a lot of dudes. Like, Book Knight, if he could figure it out. Let me look at, is his off-the-court shit done? Wow, you're telling me Kid is on bus. I'm not saying he's on bus watch. I'm just saying if we do a redraft, he's not top 5. I mean, it's right here. We could, if we do it, let me get the telestrator. Hang on. Red. We do a redraft. Mobley's better. Scotty Barnes is better. Giddey is better. To me, Kuminga's better. That's 4 guys already. I won't do Boog Knight because he hasn't shown it enough. I won't do Moody because he barely plays. But as Mavs Main said, Trey Murphy, he's in the mix. Jalen Johnson, I would do it. He probably goes 6th. Bones Highland is in consideration here. Bones Highland is out here. And Cam Thomas. Like, there's some hoopers in this draft that all went after, Cade Cunningham. So it wouldn't shock me if he went 4th, between 4th and 7th. It wouldn't shock me. It really wouldn't. Yeah, Herb Jones, but I mean, yeah, he probably gets, he's definitely a first round pick now, right? Like Herb Jones, definitely a first round pick, but he's not in this conversation in terms of like lottery. But well, in terms of like top 5, top 10, maybe Herb Jones is a top 10 pick now. Maybe that might be something we do in the summer when like everything slows down. AB pulling up. What's good, AB? Is Scoot that good? Yes. Scoot has a lot of teams trying to figure out how to get to the 3rd pick. The Blazers are willing to move the 3rd pick. I think that's asinine, especially when they're going to have to pair Anthony Simons along with that third pick. So you are essentially trading Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson for whoever you try to get to be that guy next to Dame. And I don't think there's anyone that's that good that's worth giving up Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson. Because we go ahead and look at it. Brandon Miller's going to Charlotte. Scoot is sitting right there at 3. Who are you going to get? On this chat today, we've talked about Paul George. That's not enough for me to give up Scoot Henderson and Anthony Simons, in my opinion. We've talked about Zion. That to me is still not enough. I'm willing to listen more, but I'm still not willing to give up Anthony Simons and Scoot Henderson. We've talked about Brandon Ingram. Again, I'm willing to listen, but I'm still not willing to give up those two guys for Brandon Ingram. And then we've had people in the chat bring up Pascal Siakam and Bradley Beal. Again, those two guys are not enough, in my opinion, to give up Scoot and Anthony Simons. Like, if it was 1-for-1, I'm willing to listen. But the fact that I'm giving up Scoot and Anthony Simons, dude, you got to give me like a top tier, like a really top tier, not just, oh, this guy's really good. Like, Paul George is still really good, but he's not number 2 option on the champion good. He's proven that. I need top 2, like second option on the champion good this year. Not in years past like Siakam when he rode Kawhi's coattails. Not that. Siakam is not even that same player anymore. I could argue he was better then than he is now. Real talk. Not Bradley Beal, who's been a second fiddle every year in the league except for when it was him and Russie. Don't want that either. Because again, how much better are the Blazers if they had Bradley Beal and Dame Lillard? How much better are the Blazers if they got Paul George and Dame Lillard? I don't think they're that much better. They're playoffs better, sure. But are they contenders better? No, they're not. I mean, I appreciate that. Cool. I trust your scout. I think the Scoot thing, people are sleeping on how good Scoot can be just because Big Vic, you have to take Big Vic. And Brandon Miller flashed so crazy at Bama. And to keep it a buck, the Hornets already have a point guard in LaMelo. But I still, even with LaMelo, I think there's a way where you could make Scoot and LaMelo work. What's wrong with having, like, okay, Jamal Murray's not your prototypical point guard, but guess what? He plays it. Averaged 10 dimes in the finals. He's a bucket. But he can go get you 10 dimes too. Who says LaMelo can't develop into that? Now, he's more of a traditional facilitating point guard, but with his 3-point shot and the way that his handles are, he could get himself available to get the Jimmy off. Who says you can't have him and Scoot be interchangeable lead guards? Because Scoot could go for 20 plus his damn self and get you multiple dimes. I mean, he's averaging 8 dimes in G League. That translates at the next level. But if you're trying to keep a traditional lineup where you have your point guard in LaMelo, you have your 2 guard in James Bouknight, and now you want to get your 3 because Gordon Hayward is getting old as hell and is making too much money, so let's go get Brandon Miller, then okay, it makes sense. But it also is a thing of, yo, man, I think hoopers know how to hoop together. And if you put Scoot and LaMelo, that backcourt gonna be sick, bruh. That could be a really sick, Dre was talking about a dangerous, backcourt or like a dangerous combination. Scoot and LaMelo, that's dangerous. That right there, to me, that's dangerous. Mavs, man, Blazers should just trade Dame for a KD-like package. Yeah, I agree. Like, I've been saying it. Like, if I'm Portland, I'm keeping the pick. I could get, as Mavs man said, I could get either. You can either go get a KD package where you get a bunch of young players and a shit ton of first-round picks, or you could even dumb it down. If Miami wants Dame so bad and Dame wants to be in Miami so bad, okay, then give me Adebayo. I don't know if you could get Hero and Adebayo, but you might have to if you're Miami. Bam, Adebayo, and a bunch of picks. Bam, Adebayo, and Tyler Hero for a bunch of picks. That could be a good package, pause. Or you could just be straight up. I want the Paul George trade package where I got a really top tier young player like a SGA and all the picks. So maybe let's see. Who's a team that has a really good young player that could potentially be expendable, and a team that has a whole bunch of picks? We keep going to it. We keep going to Brooklyn. Brooklyn keeps saying Mikal Bridges is not available. But if I'm Brooklyn, and Brooklyn was on Dame's list, right? Mikal Bridges, y'all just got all them picks from Phoenix. Y'all can throw those back to us. Mikal Bridges. I mean, if you could swing Cam Johnson, great, but I'm not mad if you can't. But the main thing is I want Bridges. If you could get Cam Thomas in there, you want to throw him in there, I'm not mad at that. But as long as it's Bridges plus whatever and some of those Phoenix picks, cool. You can have Dame. Because now that means if I'm Portland, I got Anthony Simons, Scoot, Mikal Bridges, Shaedon Sharpe. That squad can go. You telling me we get Dame up out of here? I got Bridges in here. I could put Bridges at the 3. I could have Scoot, Anthony Simons, or you could even go small ball and put Bridges at the 4. Scoot, Simons, Shaedon Sharpe, Mikal Bridges, and then you keep Nurkic around to just be the guy. He could be your Steven Adams. And you still got Tybalt, you still got Cam Reddish, you got some other wings that can contribute. And then, I mean, I'm still very high on Cam Reddish, but we'll see. But if I'm Portland, that's the move. It's not trading for Brad Beal. It's not trading for Siakam. It's not trading for any of these wings that are supposed to be elite, and they're not really. Because that's not enough. Dre, should Atlanta trade DeJounte Murray because reports are Atlanta might be shopping? They've been shopping Murray for a minute, man. Who they need to be shopping is Trae Young. But the problem is not too many teams actually want Trae Young. So DeJounte Murray will actually bring them back a bigger haul. So that's what's going on in Atlanta. Deep down, they would love to move on from Trae Young, but they can't really convince anyone outside of maybe the Lake Show to really take the bait on Trae Young. So they got to dangle DeJounte Murray there. And be careful with Atlanta because Landry Fields is new in that job. I'm not saying you could run game on him. I'm just saying he's very new in that job. So don't take anything you hear in regards to the Hawks as being legit because they got a new front office in there and that they're going to try to make a splash. And I don't know if I would trust everything I hear reported from Atlanta. AB, even with Dame going to the Heat, would that put them into championship status? I don't know about that, bro. Well, it depends on what they have to give up. If they're giving up Adebayo and Tyler Hero, the answer is no. But if they could find a way to get Dame and still keep Adebayo, if the deal with Portland for Dame is only centered around Hero and a shit ton of picks, then yeah, I think a big three of Dame, Jimmy, and Adebayo, that can work. That could work. I mean, in the East, that could work in the East. Because like we've been talking about here, Milwaukee, their window is, if it's not closed, it's about to be. Boston, depending on what they do with Jaylen Brown, if they're foolish enough to give him $290 million and supermax him out, that to me means their window is closed. If Philly goes out here and has the Beard walk and they can't replace him, so they're just going to go with Maxey and Embiid, that means the window is closed. Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell still pining for Knicks tape, that window was never open. The Knicks are the Knicks, that window was never open. Brooklyn, that window's never open. Miami slides into the upper half of the East now. Miami, if they go get Dame and not have to give up Bam and Tyler Hero, they're now a top three team in the East. Easy. Really easy. Magic Man always comes in and tries to stir the pot immediately. I wish he would. I wish the point guard would join the Blazers. Then we could really put all this Dame stuff to bed. Nice glasses. Thank you, sir. Polo. We out here. Point guard joins the Blazers. I mean, it would be great last for me. It would be just like last week when we were like reporting the Chris Haynes fake news of the point guard being waived, even though he wasn't actually waived yet. AB trades in Atlanta. I think he brings the fans to the games. That's not that. I don't believe that. I think they would show up for whoever's there. If you trade Trae Young, yes, he has given them moments. Okay, put it like this, right? Trae Young is their Reggie Miller. Trae Young is the Atlanta Hawks version of Reggie Miller. Like, he's good. He's exciting. He's giving you some moments. But in terms of like hooping deep into the playoffs and getting some chips, never happened. So it's really going to be a thing to see if that can be. The headphones going out. There's really going to be a thing to see if. I just think the Hawks are better off without Trae Young. I've been saying it for years. That fraudulent run to the conference finals was one of the most. People are criticizing the Nuggets run to a championship. Go back and take a look at that Hawks run to the conference finals a few years ago. It was hella fraudulent. I just think it's time to move on for Trae Young. I think you could still fill out seats in that arena, building around DeJounte Murray. Thing is, who can you convince to take Trae Young? He is not held in high regard around this league. I'll just leave it at that. Magic Man, the Nets window wasn't even open with KD. If y'all don't know, Magic Man is here to stir that KD pot. He is big on the anti-KD slander. Scrub Zero, speaking of the point fraud, DeAndre Jordan getting a ring before him is a beautiful thing. Dude, we can run down all the teammates. It's a long list. Let's go with the Hornet squad. Peja Stojakovic. He got a ring in Dallas, right? Champion. David West. Champion. 2 times. Tyson Chandler. Champion. And now we got DeAndre Jordan, champion. Like all these dudes that hoop with the point fraud, they find a way to get success without him. Funny how that works, right? Absolutely funny how that works. Because let's see, who else was on this roster that got a championship? Did Birdman get a chip? He was on there with Braun and them, right? Chris Anderson, he got a ring with Braun, right? Yep, he got a ring. Who else got a ring? Rasul Butler? Didn't he get a ring with Braun as well? Rasul Butler get a ring? Oh, Rasul Butler did not get a ring. Melvin Eli, I don't think Melvin got a ring. Bobby Jackson, Mike James. Gennaro Pargo, didn't he get a ring? No, okay. Mo Pete. Damn, I thought Mo Pete got a ring somehow, some way. Bonzi never got a ring. Okay, Julian Wright, rest in peace. That's one who, no, that was Lorenzen, right? My bad. My bad for killing Julian Wright. So half of the dudes that contributed to this team got a ring. Point fraud did not, though. Anywho, let's see. So you're saying the Mavs won the Luka trade? Yeah. I mean, they got the better player off rip. I was still high on Cam Reddish, so I was not mad at that piece of it, but the Trae Young for Luka thing, that was silly. That was silly off rip. Dre, should the Nets trade Mikal Bridges for the 3rd pick and get Scoot Henderson? Trying to think on that. I'm giving up Scoot and Anthony Simons for Mikal Bridges. I don't know if I could justify that. Mikal Bridges is nice. Let's be clear. But the problem with this Dame thing is you're giving up 2 for 1. You're giving up 2 for 1 for the 3rd overall pick. You're giving up, it's not just Scoot for whoever, it's Simons and Scoot. That's the problem here. So is Mikal Bridges' impact on the Blazers going to be better than the value of having Anthony Simons and Scoot? That's hard for me to justify. That's hard. Like, the KD trade where they gave up Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges and all those picks, KD's impact was worth giving all that up. Even though it killed their bench and that got exposed and all that, that's fine. But you can justify Kevin Durant's impact despite whatever Magic Man's going to say in the chat. You can justify Kevin Durant's impact as being worth those players. I don't think you could say that about Mikal Bridges to where his impact in Portland is going to be equal or better than the impact of having Scoot Henderson and Anthony. Like, we're ignoring the Anthony Simons piece as if he's not a hooper. Anthony Simons is outside. And if you haven't watched him, I'm imploring you to go watch the highlights. He can go. He's got a lot of Dame in him, low key. Like, here's a 30 ball against Philly. 20 pieces. Like he's ascending. He can go. You pair that with Scoot, you're essentially running back potentially a better version of Dame and CJ. We can have a smallish backcourt of two dudes that can go be buckets. Scoot will be a bucket at this level. Anthony Simons has proven he could be a bucket at this level. Now Scoot can dish it. That's something Dame never actually got comfortable ever doing. So that's the added dimension. If you decide to flip Dame and keep the third pick, you got a real point guard now. Not a dude that just plays point, but he'd rather shoot the ball 35 feet away from the basket. You got a real point guard in there now who can also go be a bucket. Paired him with a undersized two guard in Anthony Simons, who could potentially be a better CJ. And you got Shaedon Sharpe, who flashed really strong late in the year. Plus whatever pieces you get for Damian Lillard, that can go. That's a young core as the Warriors get older, as the Nuggets are trying to capitalize on the next 2 to 3 years to get all the chips they can, as LeBron gets old, as the West has teams that are floundering and quite frankly getting old. Because you have to understand, Victor Wembanyama, within three years, that's going to be a thing. So you need to ante up now. Get your young core together now, because once Vic figures it out and he gets a couple of more pieces around him, I know Keldon Johnson's there and he'll be fine, but he needs a lot more help. And he'll get that in the next few years. Once Vic figures it out, it might be a wrap. It's going to be some Giannis shit. It might be some Joker shit. Like, so understand, get your young core together now and see what y'all could do. AB, you don't think Trae with pieces can win a chip? Hell no. Absolutely not. If Trae Young is your best player, you are not going to win a Larry O.B. You're not winning a Larry O.B. with Trae Young as your number one option. Hell no. Trae Young is on that. Trae Young is probably a third option on a champion. Unless your number one option is like Jokic. Maybe he could be a bootleg Jamal Murray. Maybe. I mean, he's a defensive liability. Like, nah, probably not. But I'll be nice to say maybe he could be a bootleg Jamal Murray. But your number one option has to be immortal like Jokic. That's the only way for Trae Young to be a number two on a champion, is if your number one is going to be in a Hall of Fame. And like legit Hall of Fame, not the Hall of Very Good. So I don't know, man. It's a lot going on here. We've gone over 2 hours. I'll give it a few more minutes. We'll wrap it up at, I'll give it a couple more minutes. You got any questions, fire them away. Let's see if we missed anything else. They keep trying to bring me back in with these fake trades, man. These fake trades. This is a trade idea. This is not a real trade. It's a trade idea. The Heat get Bradley Beal. See, this is a nasty trade. Why would Washington do this? Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, and a protected top 10 pick. Why would Washington do this? I know why Miami would do it, but why would Washington do it? Fake trades, man. We miss anything else? All right, your man's the percolators out here lying. Again, it's fake. It's NBA sources be talking. We might as well jump back to that. NBA sources just be talking, bruh. Just be talking. James Harden to sign. Dude, just be talking. They got to get the clicks. They got to get the clicks. Poor Karl Anthony Towns. Who gonna tell him? Y'all see it here. Who gonna tell him? I'm serious. Who's gonna tell him? AB. Okay, I can see him at number 2 in a good system. I don't think it got nothing to do with the system. He needs to play with an immortal basketball player. Nothing to do with system. He needs to play with the Jokic. He needs to play with a one-of-one type player. That's the only way he could be a number 2 and win a championship. Nothing to do with system, in my opinion. Nothing to do with system. He just, to me, he's a third option on a champion. So for him to be a number 2 on a champion, your number 1's going to have to be that much better than what he is for him to be the number 2 and still win a championship. All right. I think we're going to wrap there. Scrub Zero, someone get your man's cat. He on that good stuff too, man. Yeah, dogs. It's, I mean, and you see where he did it, right? You see where he did it. So, you know. And the problem here is that it was here. At some point, we'll have a conversation about why so many people that look like me are doing pods on this network. Anywho, I do have an appointment, so I will have to bid y'all adieu. Thank y'all so much for pulling up. I like the fact that the numbers were strong the longer that this stream went along. If you haven't dropped a like already, drop that on the way out. I would greatly appreciate that. If you have not subscribed, feel free to subscribe. We're going to be doing content like this probably through NBA free agency. Then I'm going to be taking a little bit of a break where I won't be streaming every day. But from here, definitely through the NBA draft, probably do a live stream on the NBA draft. Then we'll probably take a couple days off after that. And then we'll be back at it for free agency and all of that stuff. So lock in. A lot of content for your head tops coming. And I appreciate all of y'all for pulling up. Salute the Magic Man. He did not troll us too much today. Surprised a little bit by that, but I'm sure he'll make up for it tomorrow, whatever else he decides to pull up. So I appreciate y'all, man. Thank y'all for pulling up. Y'all have a good one. I'll catch y'all tomorrow, 4 p.m. Eastern, right here again for Timeline T.